You're listening to the Bonnery Show. It's 8 in the evening. Tune in every night at 8 to listen to the Bonnery Show on Irish News Radio or ITV.ie. And you can contact anything that you've heard or if anything you'd like to discuss at news@irishnews.net. Irish News Radio. Today we have the wonderful Elvis, and he's going to tell us what's been happening. We were going to talk about the UN, but he's been so much busy with all protests and lots of stuff that's been happening in the UK that he hasn't had time. So we will discuss, and he will let us know what we're going to talk about next week. So this week we're just going to catch up what's happening in the UK with all the Brexit stuff and all the breakdown of talks and Theresa May going crazy and all of that. So welcome onto the show, Elvis. How have you been this week? So fill us in on what's going on.
Hi, thank you very much. Anyway, it's been a very, very busy weekend and week. So we had a march on Sunday, which was very, very good.
What was the march about?
That was about the Brexit betrayal.
Oh yeah, sorry, of course, yes. Yeah. And how did that go? There was huge numbers.
That was very good. Yeah, we were estimated 10,000 and over, possibly up to even 15,000. It was fantastic, really good. And it was very peaceful. Police was happy with us. We were happy with the police for the first time.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and they had Antifa basically march as well, which because of them, they rerouted us through a longer sort of route, which was sort of almost twice or three times longer.
Some paid by Soros.
That's right.
Screaming for bullshit, Nazis off our street crap, and they're the biggest Nazis ever.
Absolutely. Yep.
They seem to don't understand what Nazism. They behave like Nazis, fascists, but they scream at everybody what they say off our streets, but they should get off their streets than themselves.
Yeah, that's right. And basically they had 3 arrests, and there are videos available that sort of showing they were attacking police and behaving like a bunch of animals.
They're complete scum. I mean, they keep going on about the far right, but the far right are conservatives. They don't act like scum. Where Antifa are the far left, and Hitler was far left. Most of mass murders are far left. They're scum in every country. But sorry, go on.
Yeah, so that was very, very successful. And then sort of went to a pub around the corner after that finished. Actually, some people went to Hyde Park Corner, so they had a Christmas carol in there.
Lovely.
Yeah, and the police said we are not allowed to go inside the park, but outside there were Christmas carols and everything, so they joined them. But we didn't care. We just want to actually show the Muslim that we still enjoying the value of Christianity. We are enjoying the Christmas carol. We're celebrating Christmas, and nothing can stop us. Yeah.
So the police were better this time around.
Beg your pardon?
The police were better this time around. Do you think they're becoming like France? I don't know whether you saw in France where the police took off their helmets and joined in with the march.
Yeah, I think we experienced it. I think personally I experienced it yesterday in front of Parliament. We were there against the pro-EUs that they also obviously paid by somebody because they had all the kind of, they had a big massive coach painted yellow and sort of saying, written on it, bollocks to Brexit. And
sorry.
Yeah, imagine this is the kind of language they use, yeah?
Absolutely, yeah. It's just to intimidate you. They're so violent, they're scum.
Yeah.
Same in this country. There's a one called Barrett, People Before Profit, and Sinn Féin. Both of them are ran by Soros. Now I think the whole Irish government is ran by bloody Soros. They're a pack of scum and actors.
Absolutely, yeah. So then, when I was going a bit rude to one of them, she said to me, "Why you are so rude?" And I said, "Because look at you and your people. What kind of language you're using? You're saying bollocks to Brexit, which is insulting my vote, yeah. And
Yeah,
you're expecting me to be polite to you?" I said, "You don't understand the politeness. You don't get it.
yeah.
So that's the
Yeah.
language we should be talking to you in that case, you know." Yeah, and we were there up until late night last night, and we were demonstrating by the press room as well, where the basic press area, all the sort of Sky, BBC, and the rest of the national and international news were there.
Oh,
So we were
they showed up. They didn't show up for our march, but yeah, very good. Well done.
yeah, we did actually. Some of the guys they got inside the barriers, and sort of they started raising their flags, which was sort of some of these studios, they were not on the ground level, they were sort of built on the upper level, so they had a view sort of from the top to the parliament and everything. But they raised their flag with the poles in front of the cameras, and then it was all kind of sort of shouting about the Sky News, fake news, I don't know, things like that. Shame on you, shame, and things like
Oh,
that. So,
we only have fake news, unfortunately, in this country, other than the ITV.ie and in terms of media. But other than that, the rest of the bloody main media, the real media, well,
yeah,
so-called, is all fake. There's no real media in Ireland. It's horrendous.
but
So sounds good, Elvis. Sounds
yeah,
good.
yeah, but what impressed me actually last night, for example, we had discussion with most of them, and you would
Good.
be surprised what they were coming up with. I was asking, can you tell me why my flag doesn't have any stars on it? Why you have two or three different flags, four even different flags, if I tell you this, yeah? They had
Yeah.
the Union Jacks, with which actually they had a round circle of stars on it, which these people should be arrested for this, because this
It's
is
fake.
an insult to a Union Jack, to the official flag of a country. And they come out with anything they want. This should be banned. They had another one which is half a sort of diagonal cut. Half is the European, half is the Union Jack. And also they had a European, so that's the third one. And they were also holding the Union Jack. I say 4 or 5 different flags they were flying yesterday in their hands. And when I was saying, why my flag, it looks like this and yours is like that, where that flag come from? They were saying, oh, this is, also look, I'm having a Union Jack. I said, yeah, but you're trying to cover up, while the other people actually holding every kind of thing. While on top of the parliament, if you look at your blind eyes and look at it, there is a Union Jack is flying. Why is not your flag flying there? Why you? I mean, it tells me something that clearly you're a bunch of traitors. You're selling out anything in this country, including the people, and you're coming up with something completely nuisance and meaningless, right? They're saying, "Oh, this is the symbol of unity." I said, "Unity with whom?" Europe
Yeah.
always been Europe. Europe always been united. You talking completely rubbish, right? I said, why on earth, yeah, you are following that while we got a parliament right here? If you look, is a beautiful building, is a large building, is a magnificent building. Although we had a bunch of idiots in it ruling us, but we still got the parliament, we got the queen, we got the sort of rules, regulations, everything, sovereignty. Why you? Why we need another parliament to tell us what we can do? This is madness. Why are you joining the European Union? Oh, because with the European EU, we never have another world war. Can you believe the stupidity of these people?
I know, they're unreal. They're hilarious. Go on, tell me. They're so funny. I've had a good few conversations even this morning with a few of them. The things they come out with, they like, even about Irish history. They make up their own history and their own events. Like they were trying to convince me that the old IRA were socialists. I was like, so I gave them a few videos to show them. I was like, no, the old Irish weren't socialists. They weren't for anti-British and everybody else in, particularly if you're Muslim. They weren't that. They were absolutely anybody. And I've showed them a few videos of the old IRA saying,
Yeah.
from the Republic, saying, if anybody comes into my land, my house,
Yeah.
my country, I'll kill them. And he was like, he thought he was like, first of all, he was like saying to me, that's not great talk at this time in the morning. And I'm like, look, there's a video. That's who they were.
Yeah.
You can't make up history to suit yourself. They didn't. It was nothing to do with socialism. I don't know where you became socialism in Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
And you got confused on nationalism and socialism. Hitler was a socialist. The Republican movement in the Republic was not a socialist movement at all. And then there was another one. He put up an Irish flag and put down the British flag or some stupid thing. And I was like, do you know, the British flag actually, because Ireland wasn't independent by the time of the British flag, so actually the St. Patrick's cross is in the British flag.
Absolutely.
So you're actually putting yourself down as well. It's just a stupidity. They're so ignorant. It's actually insane. You get to argue things that are like, oh my God, these are so basics. Why don't you know these things? You're arguing about the things that are history. They've happened. You don't need to be fucking rocket science. You can look these things up. But they drive me mad. I hate when they talk because it's just like stupidity. But tell me more.
Sandra, if you wanna try to basically examine any of these people claiming I'm British, I'm Irish, I don't know. I made a test on one of these guys. He wasn't expecting at all. He keeps saying I'm British. Even in one of his videos, he raised his passport to the eyes of Tommy Robinson. Look, I'm British. I'm as British as you are. I got the same right as you got. I saw him in the Hyde Park and I said, I saw that video and you claimed I'm British. I said, I got a question to actually see how British you are. I said, I got a British flag, Union Jack, yeah? I said, can you tell me about this? He said, like what? I said, can I give this Union Jack to you and can you hold it upright as right position? Because you know how it is. If it basically is so difficult to say when it's upside down, unless you know technically, yeah, this is the only flag in the world that you got to keep it in a right position to actually look right, yeah. Anyway, I said, can you hold this up? And I said, look, if you are a British, you should know this. Can you tell me how many crosses are on it? 1. I said, no, my friend, there are 3 crosses on it. All right? Can you?
I didn't tell you that.
And I said to him,
I'm not British.
Yeah,
go on, tell me.
He was lucky because I didn't ask him to name the crosses, which crosses on it. Anyway, one of them everybody knows the St. George's, but there are 2 more on it. And I said to him, are you British? Are you British? And he said, yes. I said, can you sing the national anthem for me? And he couldn't.
That's shocking. Why did you think he was British?
So exactly. Look, because I'm coming from their community. This is many times I should have said that to my friend. I said, look, I'm the only one know how to deal with these people, right? I know how to, forgive my language, take them with their balls and squeeze it hard so they can't even breathe. I said, I grew up with these people. I know how their brain works. I know how their brain cell actually is active. Look, these people come and throw things without any base. They are mostly uneducated. They are mostly, sort of, forgive my language, into bullshitting everything from top to bottom, right?
Oh,
But you
who
have
are educated, but they're educated into bullshit. And I'll give you an
absolutely,
example in a minute. They're just what's happening now in this country, in most countries, they're leftist
yeah.
schools. Go on.
They don't even know their own religion. They don't know even nothing about their own religion. They just come and argue. Yesterday was another guy I met in Hyde Park some times ago, and he's one of these English guys. He looks like a hippies. Yeah, you look at him,
Yeah.
all his clothes to pieces, and he's having one of these headbands like a flipping,
Yeah.
hippies in the 60s and all that. And he come and debate. He want to debate with people on Islam, and I got him. I saw him twice on basically the yesterday and day before in front of Parliament. And I said, "Oh, you are that guy in Hyde Park that you were kissing the backside of the Muslims." And he said, "No, no, I'm just debating." Sort of. I said, "Look, what the hell do you know about Islam? Yeah, what can you tell? Can you? Okay." I said, I'm yours. Yeah, convert me to Islam. I want to see how you're going to convert. How you're going to convince me that Islam is the right religion, is a good religion. No, no, no. But you look at the other version of Islam. I said, there is no other version of Islam, you dumb idiot. There is no other Islam. You creating these people. Is the moderate Islam? Is this Islam? I said, no, there is no such a thing. Those
Yeah.
people, you call them moderate Muslim. There are people of, again, another two branches of those moderate so-called. Either they don't know anything about their religion, they're not practicing it. When it comes to, I'm a Muslim, and they are very hard Muslim. When you say, I'm Muslim, I'm definitely Muslim. Or they know about it, but what they do, as they've been ordered in their hadith, we smile in the face of non-believers while in our heart we curse them. You're dealing with
Yeah.
these two people. And I said, now can I ask you a question? I said, how Muhammad, that sort of Muslim believe he was Amin. His nickname was Amin. It means trustworthy. How this man was a trustworthy while he goes back when his son-in-law wasn't home, he goes off, he's flirting with his wife, Zainab. You can trust a man who doesn't have a mercy on his own adopted son. Can you tell me this? Where is that? I said, it's in the hadith. And this guy, he's claiming that he's been studying Islam for 2 years. I said, well, you should know it quite a lot then. Yeah? I said, also is in the Quran. Go and read it. You should know about it anyway. And ask him other question. I said, who is Kurfa? I don't know. How she was
Oh
killed?
my God.
I don't know. I said, who was Asra bin Marwan? I don't know. I said, you don't know obviously how she was killed either by the order of Muhammad. No. I said, well, man, what the hell do you know then?
Yeah.
Who's Safiya? I don't know. How Muhammad died? I don't know. I said, what the hell do you know then?
And what did he say? What does he know?
Honestly, he doesn't know. And he was keep coming with the excuses. He was trying to actually use the same policy of the Muslim. Where is written? I said, where is written? That is in the Hadith, Al-Bukhari. Go and find it. You should know about it anyway, if you've been studying 2 years.
It's strange. Do you think that some of these new, like, and I've seen them, like, there's a few clueless Irish who have converted, that are, like, have no idea, and they converted, and then there's ones that actually say they're Muslims now, they're brown and whatever, but they don't seem to follow any of the rules or have any clue. Even like I would know more about Islam than a lot of them, and I'd say, what about this or what about that? And they're like, oh no, that didn't happen. No, that's just lies. They're just propaganda. That's just spread about right-wing fascists making up all these stories, and I'm like, no, like I've seen this in the Quran. It actually does. No, it doesn't translate properly. What you're reading it wrong, or it's just like, do they really believe this, or are they playing? I'm not really sure. Sometimes I'm like, seriously, do you not know any of this?
Look, Muslims, they, as I said, there are two parts, yeah? Either there are strong Muslims, yeah?
Yeah.
Which, they got the law of Taqqiyah. Law of Taqqiyah says if you feel in danger, then you can lie, yeah? For example, did you hear last night? Yeah, yesterday it was another Christmas attack to the Christmas market in
I saw that, yeah, shocking.
Right.
2 or 3 kills.
Absolutely. So look, we had a repeat of all this. Yeah, it was in Germany, it was in Holland, it was in France, and it's been happening for the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Right? Day in, day out, it's been happening.
Now with the UN Pact, but anyway.
I can send you not one, but 2 videos of 2 Muslim sheikh. Yeah. Those people who actually come sit there and they give a fatwa, as they sort of what Muslim can and can't do. These 2 videos saying no Muslim got the right to tell any Christian Merry Christmas.
Yeah, I've heard that before, actually.
That's right.
It's an insult to Islam or something like that.
Now, if you go out and tell any Muslim, no, I tell my friend Happy Christmas. Look, either you're not saying it from the bottom of your heart as a Taqqiyah, right? Either you are scared or anything, or you don't know anything about your religion. Your religion say no Muslim got the right to salute any non-Muslim, including Jews and Christian. And when the Jews and Christian come on their path, they have to push them on the narrower side of the road. What that narrower side means, yeah, in the past, the sewages, they were passing by the corner of the pavement, yeah. It was like a little, still does exist in some of the old Muslim countries, yeah. That the sewage is basically by the sort of is like a little channel sort of passing by the side. So what he says, you should pass the Jews and Christian on the sewage side, right? To not get infected by their filth, because they believe we are najis, we are filthy Christian and Jews by flesh, because we are not Muslim, right? So how I can possibly respect a religion, well, if you call it religion, is an ideology, and people who following the same ideology, welcoming them in my home instead of saying Merry Christmas, we've been murdered year in, year out by these idiots. Where is the condemnation? As I said to any Muslim, I said, why when things happening, you don't condemn your brothers and say, you're not coming on the street saying, look, we condemn what you did. You shouldn't be doing it. You zip. But if I kill one Muslim, it would be mayhem. It would be fire on heaven and earth, right? Why is that? Why my government are saying anything, right? You see,
I think a lot of governments are corrupt anyway.
They are, yeah. But what I'm saying is, generally speaking, this is the way Islam and the Muslims are. You cannot trust. You cannot trust people who following a very untrustable person, a leader like Muhammad. Muhammad did nothing but cheat and lie. I did mention the story of Al-Hudaybiyah, didn't I?
Tell me again.
He basically, if you remember Yasser Arafat,
yes,
when he signed the surprise 10 years peace treaty as we got them now, yeah. A 10 years peace treaty between him and Mecca, when he couldn't conquer the Mecca after he came from Medina, he signed a peace treaty between them for 10 years, and he said that to Meccan that I will not touch you for 10 years. While he was outside the walls of Mecca, in the area Al-Hudaybiyah, he started employing people for his army. And people were coming to him because they knew this guarantee, money and women, by joining the Muhammad's army. So what he did, he was literally waiting there and getting army and things, getting himself stronger. And when after 2 years, he attacked Mecca while their guards were down, and he conquered Mecca. That's the story of Hudaybiyah. When Yasser Arafat signed the 10 years again, you see, what a coincidence, peace treaty with Israel, people were sort of asking him, how could you do that, you traitor? How could you sign a peace treaty with my enemy? He couldn't clearly say what he did, yeah, obviously, but he passed the code, secret code between him and his fellow Muslim brothers. He said, remember Hudaybiyah, and people immediately understood, except the stupid Jews and Christians. They didn't know what he's talking about. They didn't get it, right? That's why, if you remember, Benjamin Netanyahu, when he was recently talking, he said, lesson learned. This is what he was referring to. When he said lesson learned, he knew that you cannot trust these people. And he was referring to Iran. Look, I mean, when a man is as untrustworthy as Muhammad, and people are following him, yeah, with the law of Taqqiyah, which is a lying and deceiving, how you can possibly trust any of them?
Absolutely. But I think they have a different, like you, I argue all the time with the leftists, is that they have a different value set of what's right and wrong. I was watching this couple who'd murdered their daughter in the UK, a Muslim couple, and the interviewers went over and said, and fake tears and everything, which you could kind of see that it was that, and how they caught them was on body language. They were saying, oh no, it's terrible and whatever, but they really had no remorse. They actually could see that they felt that they were justified because she was becoming Western.
Yeah.
And it's quite shocking that they actually would prefer to kill their daughter than let her live as a Westerner, which it really is, and that is a wake-up call. And you can tell leftists this because they don't want to believe it, because in their stupid little heads, like Muslims, right? And you have two problems, right? You have the Muslims who believe what they're doing is right? It's completely wrong to us. And they know that it's completely wrong to us, but they will look into our eyes and lie completely about it. Now, his body language gave him out the father. He was like, I would never kill my daughter, but he was shaking his head no, and the whole body language was wrong.
Yeah.
And it was obvious, you could see that they had killed him afterwards. Yeah, they found out. But, I mean, when you watch the video, you were like, come on, this is not like... You could see right through them. They really did believe. They were almost smiling, through their fake tears, smiling, because they felt this, what a relief. They've got rid of this woman who was bringing their family a bad name, and they were embarrassed because they were obviously living in a Muslim community, and they were embarrassed for their family. They have now cleaned themselves of this embarrassment, and you could actually see this through, even though that's not what they were saying, you could actually see through their body language and everything, you could actually see it, that they've cleaned themselves. Then later on it all came out and they kind of said all this, but you could actually see it in their faces. So they felt, because they were in a Muslim communities, even though they lived in Britain, that they still lived in these Muslim communities, and they couldn't hold their head up in this Muslim community because their daughter refused to wear the hijab and refused to become
Yeah,
Muslim.
yeah,
So for them it was easier. But you try and tell this to a leftist. Now, it's as stupid as they look into your eye and they know that we find that shocking and that's unbelievable that you'd rather murder your daughter than have that. Because they know we don't understand their sense of right and wrong because it's completely different for us.
that's right.
But the same as the leftists, they can't hear it. They all they hear is, oh, he wouldn't. And just because he's brown, you're assuming that it's like it's nothing to do with that he has a better skin colour. That's all you're saying. That makes you
Yeah,
the racist. I have never mentioned skin, never even thought about skin. You are the first thing to jump in and protect because they are brown, which makes you a racist because you are obviously thinking that it's something to do with skin or genetic when it's nothing to do with those things. It's to do with the cause. It wouldn't make any difference. But you try and talk to them and it's like, I don't know, talking to a blank wall. None of it goes through their head. It's like, you can't change this. There is nothing, no amount of integration, no amount of time is going to change this. Their belief system is completely different.
yeah,
They believe right and wrong is completely different. And that is the problem. And I think it's mainly the brain dead leftists and the government scum who
yeah,
get paid by people like Soros and Saudi who are more interested in the money than the lives of ordinary people and the Muslims themselves. I've actually started to almost feel sorry for Muslims because I do believe that they believe that they're actually right in their view. It's just that the leftists are protecting them and they're actually putting other Muslims in danger by their stupidity because they decided, the hijab and all the fucking leftist dumb idiots decide to put on a
yeah,
hijab on the day.
yeah.
Oh, we're supporting Muslims. It's like, no, you're not. They don't fucking have a choice, you dumb piece of shit. Like, you're not. You're so fucking stupid. It's not even funny. You're not supporting them. You're actually putting them into more danger because you're normalizing their behavior and you're saying it's okay to
Yeah.
have a
Yeah.
gender apartheid. And that's what you're doing.
And
You're not
also,
supporting them. Sorry, go on. You tell me.
these people, honestly, they've been deceived, and some of them they know what what's happening to them. They're gonna. Well, I spoke to one of the so-called the West call them moderate Muslim, right? He wasn't a definitely ex-Muslim. He is because still he was like, I'm a Muslim. And when I was trying to actually tell him was his religion and everything, he knows about all that crap. Yeah, he's been to even Mecca. He's done this pilgrimage. Yeah, and what he said to me, if you take Islam out of some Muslim, then they don't have any culture. So their religion is not only religion, is their culture, obviously, because anything they do, they say, any move is ruled by Islam. Islam control everything. Say what to do, what to say, how to say it, how to do it. Everything is controlled. Every step Muslim take is being controlled and told by Islam and Muhammad how you should be doing it. So obviously, if you take so therefore these people, they are hesitant. Most of the time, they don't know what to do, and they're afraid. They're scared to leave Islam. But although they
Yeah.
know what kind of a crap it is, right? I mentioned, if you remember, by the way, this is by the request of one of my friends. He said I should be saying it to people because it's important. If you remember, I did mention the women in Iran
Yeah.
that they rejecting a compulsory hijab, right?
Yeah.
And it's happening every Wednesday. They call them the White Wednesday, and
That's right. Yeah.
the girls of the Revolution Street, right?
Plastic
Uh,
Federation.
name of the one of the streets, right? And when these girls getting arrested, some of them they are young and even virgin, and when they get executed, the night before the execution, one of the guards, one of these what they call them, revolutionary guards, as we used to call them Gestapos. These people doing a contract marriage, which is a short marriage. In Sharia, they call it sigha. Yeah, in a Sunni they call it what was that?
I've heard about this. They have to rape the girls so they don't go to paradise. Is that correct?
Yeah, they call
Sometimes
it
they get gang
muta'a.
raped.
Yeah, they call it muta'a. It means the contract marriage. Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically, they doing a forced marriage and rape them because they're not supposed to go virgin to heaven. Yeah,
It's your case to get into heaven. I remember hearing this.
right. The thing is, after they going to their parents to give their belongings to them, and the guy says, "By the way, she was my wife," and these people say, "What the hell? She wasn't married." No, but we married. Yes, so she was my wife. I'm sorry. This and that. Imagine how painful it is for those parents to know somebody raped their girls by the name of Islam and the name of sort of legality in Islam. Yeah.
Jesus.
I mean, you put yourself in the shoes of those mothers, especially.
Yeah.
But this is Islam. But if you tell them that, no, it's not such a thing, it doesn't exist. No, it does exist.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was
I've heard
talking
that as
to the
well.
majority of these people, yeah. I was asking them a simple question. I said, are you supporting, for example, Europe? How many states is Europe? We don't know. How you don't know? That what is the Barcelona Treaty, Barcelona Agreement? What is that? Jesus, you should know. How many people, when I was telling them that on the 10th and 11th of this month, it was another agreement, yeah, by the United Nations in Marrakesh, that agreed that have 59 million on top of 73
I know.
million
Fucking shocking. Our
people.
government signed it.
The
Yours is
guy,
well.
the guy actually, he told me, you definitely talking rubbish, he told me. He was, imagine how shocking it was for him, the numbers and things that he thought I'm talking baloney. I'm out of my head.
That's the main media's fault. They have no idea. Now, I think a lot of people, know, but probably on the media I'm on, it's unbelievable. They have no clue. Which I just can't believe our government signed it. So I was not shocked. I knew Irish government was going to sign it. They don't even hide to be left as scum. The whole government is left as scum. It's just great.
I mean,
I actually find that so upsetting, that whole UN agreement. I cannot believe that it.
before actually we start talking about the thing, I don't think we can do it for today, but about the United Nations immigration compact agreement with the Europe and the world actually. I was sort of going to do some quick introduction to what United Nations is before we say what and how they deciding this and stuff on us. Yeah. If you allow me to actually go through some of the text. The Council of Foreign Relations, CFR, created the United Nations, right? That's how United Nations created. The CFR is filled with people who endorse the characteristic of communism. The people who were involved in forming the CFR are none other than the international bankers. So you can see how this thing was created to start with and with whom is the base on communism. Many people think that United Nations is a peacekeeping organization. The fact is that the United Nations is instead a war organization in Article 42 of the United Nations Charters.
Yeah.
And so this is about the sort of creating war and supporting the war. If you remember, I said one of the things World War II was created for. It was planned, as you know. It wasn't accidental. It was planned. All these things were planned. That do a control of the world population. But unfortunately, they control the not world population, but the mainly Europe population, because Europe suffered more than anything else. Africa didn't suffer at all.
Why is it that they seem to want to go after the European, different indigenous race in Europe rather than, I mean, they did kind of, I suppose, in different Asian kind of groups as well, go after, obviously Iran and all that have had their war. But Europe seems to be, well, it seems to be just the bloody Germans.
You see,
because even when I was talking to Eastern Europeans, and I didn't really know much about the war in Eastern Europe, the Germans going into Eastern Europe, I never really knew that. But they were slaughtered.
Yeah. Actually, Eastern Europe also suffered during the Crusaders, because one of the simple reasons that the thing is because they know the history.
Yeah.
And this is one of the main reasons is this. Yeah, in general. Yeah, the Europe. If you see the definition of Europe, is standing for Christianity and the Crusaders. Right? This is the, I mean, some people saying Turkey is in Europe. No, Turkey never is in Europe, never will be in Europe. And I do not recognize any Turk as European because, it is a big difference of values and qualities.
Absolutely.
What it is, they want to keep people with no brain because they are more controllable.
Yeah.
They bring mayhem, while the Europeans are civilized, they are skilled, they are educated, they are kind, and they bring law and order. Always we had the law and order in Europe, right? I know every country, every continent had the ups and downs. So some people might say, oh, I'm talking rubbish. How about the Renaissance? How about the time of when the church had the control of everything? Yes. Obviously, it never stops the people with the evil spirit, with the bad and violent attitude to come and take advantage of uniforms, of the positions. Yeah. Always they penetrate. Look at the for example, Pope. Yeah, Pope Francis. He comes. I mean, somebody sent me a text that sort of. He comes and says Lucifer is God. I mean, he put it clearly on the plate.
I think he's a fake Pope anyway. I've thought about that for a long time because he's never talked about bringing Christians into Europe. He's always talking about bloody Muslims. I'm like, Christians are being persecuted in those countries, and you're telling us to take the people who are persecuting those Christians into a Christian country. There's something quite not right with you. Like, if he was for Christians, he'd be saying, look, there's a lot of Christians in these Muslim areas. We need to get them out. We need to help them.
Yeah. He was more worried about the Muslim of Myanmar that being, sort of out of their land and sort of being busy. But, rather than Christian being slaughtered in Syria and Iraq. He didn't go there to see what was happening to them. He went to Myanmar to see, what about Muslims.
The Orthodox Christian guy, I've seen pictures, the Russian Orthodox Christian Pope, he actually is more Christian, like he is Christian, but he is more for actual Christians. That Pope, and I come from a Catholic country, it's not for Christians. He's absolutely not. The things he comes out with, particularly for the Christians, he never mentions the Christians. When he mentions the Muslims, it turns my stomach. That was the first thing I was like, you know what, you're no Pope. You're not a Pope. You've got in here, you're a fake Pope. I don't know how you got in, but this is not real. If you were for the Christians, you'd be talking about Jesus, and you'd be talking about saving Christians that are being persecuted, and the most persecuted group, religious group of the world is Christians. So you'd be talking about them. You'd be talking about them in China. You'd be talking about them in all Islamic countries. That's what you'd be talking about, not your bullshit about letting in Muslims. But he does want to create, I think he is the devil. I actually do think that man is the devil. And what was in the Bible was be careful of false prophets.
Yeah.
And Jesus does give a warning of a false prophet. And I actually do think it's the Pope. I know that sounds crazy, but I do. The things he talks about, it's just, no, he's not for Christians.
Yeah. No. If to me, to be honest with you, if he's not the Lucifer himself, he is a Luciferian. That's for sure. This man, he never talked kind about Christianity. He always slagged it off. Yeah. Anyway, the United Nations claims authority to take such action by air, sea, or land forces as may be necessary to maintain or restore international peace and security. Interestingly, there is no mention of what peace means. These are things about the United Nations. The first basic fact about the United Nations we can get across is that this elite-run organization has unprecedented military might and will use that might to take sure all nations submit to its wishes for a one-world government. As you know, this is a new world order, in other words, yeah? And 1/4 of humanity must be eliminated, yeah? From the social...
What sort of humanity must be eliminated? What?
Well, it is this is said by Barbara Marx Hubbard, yeah? 1/4 of humanity, and I'll tell you who is she. 1/4 of the humanity must be eliminated from the social body. We are in charge of God's selection. Look, they're talking about God's selection. They involving in the God decision and thing. Process for planet Earth. We select, we destroy. We are the riders of the pale horse death. This is told by Barbara Marx Hubbard. And who is she? Barbara Marx Hubbard is
pretty scary.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more scary than I thought. I knew that they were going to criticize anybody speaking about, migration, and they would criminalize anybody speaking, and I thought that was dangerous. But they're actually making selections? That's so bizarre.
And I'll come to the most actually horrific stuff in a minute, but Barbara Marx Hubbard is a futurist, author, and public speaker. She is credited with the concept of the synergy engine and the brightening of humanity. She is the author. And what she believes that basically 1/4 of the humanity must be destroyed. I mean, it's mental.
One part of humanity is going to be destroyed.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's generous. Some others actually say no, more than that, 95%. And I'll come to it. Member and futurist strategies of Task Force Delta say a United States Army think tank. These new mankind by then directly linked with the being who David Spangler called the angels of man's evolution. Yeah, this is from the book Reflections on the Christ, page 37. And look at this one. Look at this one. This is getting even nastier. A total population of 250 to 300 million people, a 95% decline from present level would be ideal.
Jesus Christ.
This is Ted Turner, the CNN founder and the UN supporter, quoted in the McAlvany Intelligence Advisor, June 96.
Wow.
Get ready
so
for
they're just going to wipe out nations, basically, is what, that's why they want to flood them out. They'll just poison certain countries.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they're using...
Just kill off all Europe, because if they flood them out from Africa and all that.
That's why they bring in Islam and the blacks, because they are the weapon of mass destruction. The weapon of mass destruction is not the metal made something physical, is this. is Islam, is the flooding Europe with the African and bunch of uneducated, unskilled, uncultured,
Yeah.
yeah,
You see in France on the yellow vests, the Jean Gillette protest, the army that was sent in was the EU, which they said there was no EU army, was sent in, but also in the EU, their bullshit EU army. Now, they had EU flags that were sent in to try
yeah,
and control
yeah,
this
that's right.
on their armed cars, right?
Yeah,
But also, there was rumours of the UN army, because this bullshit EU obviously is
yeah,
useless.
that's right.
They sent in the UN army, which is interesting. So they're just going to shoot out on riots when people, like the French, are beginning to wake up. The Irish are fast asleep, unfortunately, have no idea what's going on. But the French and a few of the others are waking up.
Yeah,
I was talking even to someone earlier on about, he was a leftist, and in the end he kind of said to me, "Oh, it's great we can talk." And I said, "Yeah, it's great for the moment that we can talk.
yeah.
But there will be another civil war, and not just in Ireland. There'll be
Yeah,
a
yeah,
civil war.
exactly. They want this. They want us to basically. They looking forward to this. I think they bring on purpose to actually create a civil war, to actually
Divide us.
as many people as they can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, the building of European Union. Yeah. If you look at that building, have you ever seen the building?
Kind of from the outside. I
Mm,
remember having a look at it from
yeah.
different videos. It
If you
all
look at
seemed very strange anyway, that EU. There was a guy called Luke Ming Flanagan from Ireland.
yeah,
Now he's a bit of a leftist hippie, but the one good thing is he did go over and he did show you right into the UN building, and he's like, "This place is unbelievable. I'm not allowed to take a pen. I'm not allowed to take a paper. I'm not allowed to take a video of what's going on. I can't tell the people of Ireland what's happening in this meeting, or I will be criminalised. If I use," and he interviews the girl and he says it to her, he says, "So tell me again, I can't actually tell what's going to happen in this room to the people of Ireland, the
yeah,
people I'm representing, or you're going to criminalise me." And the lady basically just kind of smiled at him and kind of said, "Yes," as if you use the same words. It was unbelievable. It was like, he's representing Ireland. He's supposed to speak for us,
yeah.
but he can't tell us what's going on in those meetings.
No, I can tell you the sort of the language behind the design of that building. That building is designed is a new Tower of Babylon.
Babylon.
That's right. If you look at the shape of the thing, there are series of sort of documentary on it on the internet. You can go and search it. This building is the copy of the Tower of Babylon. So can you see where they're taking it? Because the Babylon is all about sort of we got the whore of Babylon. We got the sort of this is all about biblical and
Yeah, his
kind of
time. Yeah.
satanic and yeah. You see, this is how it was designed. Yeah, is the copy of Tower of Babylon. This guy called Ted Turner became a billionaire by developing a television network, CNN. He is given a $1 billion to the United Nations, doled out over 10 years by his own foundation, and is steering a large portion of it to population control, right?
You
Imagine
know.
how far it goes. Warren Buffett has discussed plans for a foundation to distribute his money after he dies. Yeah, the foundation is to focus on two issues: world peace and population control. Again, in here, peace. I don't know what they haven't described what peace is for them anyway,
Or
but definitely
peace
it's
for
not the peace we
themselves.
know. Yeah, but it's not the peace we know. His
Yeah.
fortune is in early 1999 was reported to be over 30 billion and growing steadily. Right? Other billionaires have begun funding parts of the eugenics movement. Bill Gates, yeah, the richest man in
Jesus.
the richest man in the country at then, and George Soros, the financiers have started putting their money into population control projects. So no wonder George Soros doing this, because they want to complete up to 95% of this population getting evaporated from the face of the earth. Funding
the whole of Europe. We can see the whole of Europe going to be taken down.
That's right.
Where did they leave the people alive? Israel?
Well, yeah, possibly one of them, obviously, and they want to destroy people who do understand. You see, they have a fear not from African, not from Middle Eastern, because the African he's a lazy nation who hardly want to use his brain,
But they don't have. Apparently, the brightest people are actually Asians IQ. The Asians have the highest IQ, as in Chinese, Japanese, and stuff. The average, I don't know, it's like something like 130, 140, or maybe 120. Sorry, in Asians. The next one down is the Caucasian nations.
That's right. Middle East is low. Middle East is very low, and Africa is low.
And Africans even lower.
Yeah.
They're the lowest IQ, so
that's right.
Don't have to worry about them.
Yeah. So what it is, look, they are not worried about the African. They are not worried about the Middle Eastern, because they know Arab, all he wants to actually have a nice shish kebab and sit and have a shisha and talk complete shit. That's all they do. Yeah? This is what they do. Show me one Arab doing, I don't know, something magnificent. Yeah? Anyway, other billionaires.
People look at everything from cars and everything like that. Who's really developed everything? It's been the Asians, number one, who's done the best. And the second is the Caucasians. So they won't have any fear of Africans because they haven't done anything.
Absolutely. So John Randolph Price, Mr. Price, is the founder of the Planetary Commission. Price was told his spirit, in the bracket, spirit guides of coming utopia, ushered in the illumined super being, illumined super being, who have guided man's progress towards an Aquarian age of spirituality and on planet Earth. New Age leader John Randolph Price admits that those who follow the path of the Lucifer, getting interesting, are called light bearers in the world. There we are. Now we're getting there. And another scary one is called, this guy called David Spangler. And listen what he says. No one will enter the new world order unless he or she will make the pledge to worship Lucifer.
Jesus.
No one will enter the new age, unless he will take the Luciferian initiation. And this is said by David Spangler. If you base your United Nation education, we will come to it. Part of the United Nation is concentrating on the primary schools. Believe it or not, the age of 3. They starting as little as age of 3. Brainwashing. So no wonder we got the loads of idiots.
Yeah. And they're so stupid. They've dumbed them down. Each year they've dumbed them down. Yeah. I think I've noticed it in Ireland since the Lisbon Treaty, because we said no to the Lisbon Treaty. I don't think they paid much attention to us. I don't think they really understood, they kind of saw it as the British Isles. Yeah. So they thought, Ireland will do whatever Britain is doing because they're Brit. And when Ireland stood up and said no, they didn't want the Lisbon or the Nice Treaty, that's when I've noticed that they have come down heavy. Now, Ireland is being on a boiling pot. Ireland and Canada are on a boiling pot because we both have complete fake leaders who are destroying Ireland.
Absolutely.
Well, and
bad people are waking up. You see, if you base your United Nations education solely on our controlled media or the UN's own website, you are missing the truth. you are being filled with deadly propaganda.
Absolutely. And those are distractions. Like, I mean, even I think to a point, Brexit, yeah, they need a Brexit, but they've muddied the waters because while Theresa May went to sign it, all people knew about was Brexit. Now, most English, like, they're as stupid as Irish. They don't actually know. Like, you talk about a lot of the leftists, and I've talked to a lot of English leftists as well, who would be, oh, it's terrible, and stupid comments like, oh, we won't be able to travel to Europe. I'm like, oh my God,
No,
Europe's a
no,
continent.
this is what I'm saying. These people are
Ridiculous.
brainwashed. These people,
Sorry?
no, these people just being brainwashed. They haven't. Yesterday, the guy says if we joined the EU, we wouldn't have a world war. I mean, how stupid this man can be.
I know, but the thing is, when you start trying to correct them, they get really frustrated and almost angry at you, and when they have nothing more to say, they just get. Well, that's the way I see it. It's the same as like even arguing with the leftists to do with abortion, right?
Yeah.
And you're trying to explain to them there is actually no need for abortion. Medical advancements have well passed out of abortions a long time ago. You can have the morning after pill up to 5 days. If you miss that, babies can be C-sectioned at 20 weeks and can survive. You don't need to murder a child. What they have done to you is taught you murder is humane. And that
Look,
is such
what
a
they
stupid
telling
thing
you
to all
actually,
say.
what they telling you, they're encouraging the Europeans, right, to murder, as you said, their kids, yeah, and have an abortion, while an African or Middle Eastern having 10, 15 kids, and they saying, I mean, in Iran, and also Erdogan said it, they encourage their nation to have more kids, have more than 6. This is,
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever thought that why they encouraging these people to have more kids? Why they saying to me, nah, yeah, abortion. You can't have, we're going to get populated and we don't have enough food. How on earth you don't have
Well,
enough
even
food
that, because we've
for
such a
me?
tiny population in Ireland. Basically, what they say it's for humanity, it's for this, it's for that, and they go on about this 1% that practically doesn't even exist.
Yeah,
What about rape? What about this? What about that? What about incest? What about fetal abnormality?
yeah.
That's all they go on, like this 1%. It's like a lot of rape victims actually go on to have the children. You can only get pregnant 2 times in a month. The chances of you getting pregnant, even from rape, is highly unlikely. There's also a pill that you can take 5 days after that is more effective than abortion. Like, they're just so stupid. They won't listen to it. And unfortunately, I have a few friends of mine who are completely brainwashed. Even my son, he says to me, "It's funny, Mum, you come from that generation, millennium, which you don't seem to be like the rest of them." And I'm like, because he's a Generation Z, or the next one down,
Yeah.
the Z generation. And I'm like, I actually think your generation will be the hope, because you've watched the millennials, the dumb fuckers who've destroyed not just Ireland, but destroying the world with their stupidity. Nothing that they say makes sense, and always question them. They tell you something, go and look it up. Get all your facts and look it up, and you realise none of them have a clue. They all talk about emotions. All they feel that's the right thing for abortion. They feel that's the right thing to let Africans in. They're
Yeah.
not working on any logical anything that makes any sense. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah.
As I'm trying to actually keep the session sort of
Of course.
around an
Yeah.
hour, I mean, we're getting just a few more points, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Go on.
Regarding what you said, yeah, always you notice that one of the excuses they're coming up with is, well, we need these immigrants because the population of Europe is declining. And
Yeah.
what they're trying to say, actually say that European men can have sex, they can't do it. But let's have an African man, have a Middle Eastern. No, you idiots. It's not that. I mean, the thing is, if you look at it, the European man is very much capable to have sex. He's capable to have even 20 kids if you want. Yeah. But the difference is the European man, the American, the Japanese, all these people working like a donkey from the morning to night, right? And they literally suffering from the sort of wages, low wages and all that, and they have to control how many kids they can't feed, like 10, 15, like Middle Eastern, for a reason I'll tell you in a minute. Because, the guy said, okay, Pampers is expensive, school is expensive, clothes are expensive, and all that. While the Somali men come here, or the Pakistani or Afghani or all those, they're getting free money, best accommodation, school for their kids, all the sort of, they're on the door, they're getting free money, and literally from the morning to night, they got nothing else to do, just to be happy with their wife and sort of keep producing. You give me that, and I'll show you how many kids I can have.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'll make the whole area of mine pregnant. No problem.
Absolutely. Well, it's different because, like Ireland had massive amount of children. The generation before mine, like my aunts would have had, one of my aunts had 9 children. My mother would have had 6, and they were quite normal numbers. And that generation before them, some of them had 12 children and all that. Ireland had huge amount of children, but we were told it was, that it was selfish, or was almost looked down on as unconservative, or I don't know, it was like kind of thing. And people are like, oh, you'll have no life if you have all that amount of children. You need to get a career. You need to be going out and have a career. Sure, what career? You don't need to be staying at home doing nothing, wasting your life. Or if you don't have children, you go and have a career and you can see the world, and you can give your children a much better life. Or if you just have that amount of children, you have no life. So it was that sort of kind of talking to the Irish.
Yeah. Honestly, what is wrong to have low population and sort of enjoy the quality of life rather than overcrowd your continent and then have all sorts of, problems from disease, from, I don't know, sort of lack of food and quality of air, quality of water, and you name it. What is wrong? We still going. We still got lots of population, bless them, but in a reasonable time. These governments, they are even allowing sort of these Muslim come and humiliate our men, right? By saying, your men can't produce, so you need the real men, you see, to come and actually give you babies. This is an insult.
Absolutely. Well, I think they've broken down, male. They've kind of, it's all about divide and conquer. They've put men and women at each other, so they're against each other. They've put woman and child against each other with the abortion thing. But man and woman, like, as in, like even all this gender bullshit that's going on, and gender neutral teaching all about this, or that men that have decided to be women can join into women's sports, where women who've trained all their lives to compete in whatever type of sport. And obviously the man is built bigger. They're built men. Like, they were born a man. Just because in their little heads they may think they're a woman, it still doesn't change their body. They're going to win the sport if they've practiced hard enough, because they're built with muscle. Women aren't built with muscle. They're 2.5 times per pound muscle of a female. So obviously they're going to bloody win. It's the ridiculous thing. Like, there was a kick fighter who cracked open this woman's head, and they were all cheering. And it was like, he's a bloody man. This is stupid.
Even yesterday, we were passing by the Trafalgar Square in London.
Yeah.
Before the Whitehall. And I showed my friends that the traffic lights around that area, when it comes to green for people to walk, not for the cars, but for the people. You see how clever they done it. They haven't done it for the cars, but they done it for people to see it. They all changed this. I'll take a picture and send it to you. You got to see this. They have changed all these to the symbols of male, female, stuff like that. So all the gender stuff, you know, on it. Look how far they're going. They're changing even the traffic lights to show those symbols. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
In Australia, the man who's in charge of the halal certificate, he comes and says, Australian women needs the real men from Middle East to come and impregnate them. I mean, how people can take all this humiliation and insult? I mean,
Yeah,
you
that's what
telling me I'm not a man.
There's an awful lot of angry men as well at the moment, because of this. Like, you know, because women are coming out. There's these feminazis, and I'm sure you have them in your country as well. And they've decided that you can't call women any more women because there's a man at the end of the women. So you have to say womex. And they're changing this in schools, and even sex education has to put in gay sex into sexual education. Like, they're just pushing men and women far apart, and getting in anger. And there is anger, like you see it online with men. Like I've seen it with Irish men. They are getting fed up with this.
Of course, I mean, I get fed up. I mean, I'm a man. I wouldn't allow anybody to call me anything else. I'm a man. I'm proud to be a man. You are proud to be a woman.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
what's
wrong with it?
I have no insult of having man. You see, that's the problem. They're saying having man at the end of the name. They have to change it to womex. Like, there's so much, and what they're trying to do is get more men angry. And what they are doing, they're succeeding, because nobody's working it out. But there's these people who are clever enough behind both little groups, ticking in the little boxes, getting these feminazis who are paid by people like Sorrows or Brain Dead, and they're like Antifa, and you just give them little ticks. You go out there now, and we'll support you. You change this, and then they keep ticking the boxes, and then you've got all these angry men, and with this, these feminazis, you have all these liberal men who are just completely brain dead and want to identify as women, and they're just stupid Nazi fascists.
Absolutely.
And then you have the normal men who wanted to have children, who wanted a normal life, and they're like, what the hell is going on? Like, why is this all of a sudden?
This is the meaning of fascism, because fascism is to control everything, to compact and control everything. So this is a fascism. If you want to think about it, when they control my gender, when they want to tell me what is what and what is supposed to, I mean, this is a fascism in its highest.
Yeah.
Right?
Completely.
And people don't even know the meaning. As yesterday, people were calling me, oh, you're Nazi. I said, how am I going to be Nazi, you idiot? How I am Nazi while I'm a right? I said Nazi means National Socialist. That was a Hitler. That was a Nazi. Yeah. And I said, you are a lefty. I'm not. You are a Nazi in that case. I'm a right. I can't be Nazi.
Yeah.
You know, you are a fascist that you cannot take. Yeah. You cannot take the fact that I won. 17.4 million people voted to leave and we won, and now you come in pushing yourself saying no, you have to have a second. I mean, this is fascism. You are fascist because you controlling what you want. Isn't it clear? You are both Nazi and fascist because you are lefties and you controlling what you want. You cannot take the fact that you lost. Get on with it.
Yeah.
So a few more things, and I hope it was a good introduction for hopefully if we're going to come next time talk about the United Nations Immigration Pact. And
if you'd like to talk about it next week, Elvis, that'd be fantastic. Yeah, we'll do that next week. We'll talk about the
next week. I thought we were organizing things with the mothers so they can possibly come and talk to you. But anyway, we'll discuss it.
If you'd like to explain that, Elvis, that's actually a really brilliant idea. If you'd like to tell people about that.
Yeah. And so just a few more points on the United Nations, and sort of that would be a good introduction for them, sort of either next week or week after.
So next week, Elvis is going to come on with these mothers who their sons were killed leaving a
That's right.
nightclub. Can you tell us a little bit about that, and then what you're going to talk about next week? You don't have to tell us, but
Yeah.
just have a quick introduction of what we're going to talk about next week.
Yeah, we had an accident last January that there were a bunch of kids who were living near Heathrow area. They were going to a birthday party. They were aged 16 and 17, and they were all friends. They were gathering sort of to go to their friend's party, and this Pakistani origin man came. Actually, the government is fighting and saying, no, he wasn't a Pakistani. He was Asian, and he was drunk. And he wasn't. He was a Pakistani man. And there were all kind of information and documents that hopefully Tracy Blackwell, who's one of the mothers and is the spokesperson for him, she will explain it to you. And this man came and literally hit these kids with 75 miles an hour. And they were instantly killed. And Tracy's son, he was thrown from the pavement over the fences to the cemetery, which was on the other side of the fence. And after that, these mothers had to actually go and clean and take the body parts of their kids, collect them. Imagine the pain. And the government, no the police, no the ambulance, they didn't help them. Then they had to go and wash the blood of their kids by their own hand from the pavement. And
Jesus.
now they're taking the matter to court, and they got all kind of documents and evidence. But the government insisting that no, it was an accident, and it was just it wasn't on purpose. It was just accident, and this man was drunk. This man wasn't a Muslim either. And anyway, this is the kind of example of what the Irish people might go through. Yeah, because
Okay, so we'll go into that next week. So what do you
Yeah.
want to? We finish off talking about the last pieces of the UN, the introduction you
That's
want to do for next week. Sorry, is it?
Yeah, if very quickly I'll go through this. They say
Yes.
another objectives of the United Nations is the rule of global police force. The plan to replace American police with the UN troops. In fact, they already have the UN vehicles in the America ready to enact complete militarism. And I don't know if you remember or not, back some times ago when Chicago is in a mess, right?
Yeah.
And kind of they call the United Nations Peace Force into Chicago to control the thing instead of the police. Can you see how far they're going?
Mm.
Transhumanism
Yeah.
offer an
I
updated
think of that.
height. Beg your pardon?
Sorry, I have actually seen the UN troops through my area. Actually, I didn't know they were driving through. Okay, maybe about a year ago.
Yeah.
Like at that stage, I hadn't even heard of the UN Pact.
That's right. They are in Chicago. They were in Chicago, actually. It was on the news. Unbelievable. Transhumanism offers an updated high-tech variety of Luciferianism. Yeah? An appellation, transhumanism, was coined by evolutionary biologist Julian Huxley. And he says in the bracket that transhumanism is a Wikipedia. They actually explain that the free encyclopedia no paganation. Paganation. Oh God, they keep talking about Luciferian and stuff like that. Huxley defined the transhumanism condition as man remaining man, but transcending himself by realizing new possibilities of and for his human nature. Jesus Christ, no paganation is that means, yeah? This is it.
Wow.
So,
It is
yeah,
really, really scary times we're living in.
absolutely. Yeah, it's 1 hour, 20 minutes. We don't want to make people tired,
Yeah. Listen, thank you so much, Elvis. It's been a pleasure again. You're fantastic. I'm looking forward to already next week. It just seemed to have gone so quickly talking to you. And I could talk to you forever. I think you're just amazing. You're a very interesting person, so I could listen to you forever talking, because you've got this amazing amount of knowledge, and
Thanks.
you're a very interesting character to have on. So thank you so much for giving me your time. I could use up all your time because I find you fascinating to listen to, and so full of knowledge. So you're a pleasure to listen to. It's not, I never realised the time talking to you, because it's like, really, is it that time already? Because I just find you so interesting that I could listen to you all day long.
You're spoiling me. You can't see me. I'm blushing now.
No, you're fascinating. You're so intelligent, and you're fantastic, and you're just knowledgeable, which is the main thing. There's so many stupid people with these stupid, ridiculous conversations, and it's like, that doesn't even make sense what you're saying. Like, but so it's so refreshing. It's like a breath of fresh air to listen to somebody who's awake and has the facts and knows what they're talking about, and everything makes sense. So again, Elvis, thank you so much for coming on the show, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, hopefully we'll see you next week, or possibly the week after. I mean, if next week you're talking to the mothers, possibly see you. But anyway.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll keep in touch. I'll be in touch with you and let me know. I'm looking forward to talking to those mothers. God love them. Yeah, such a shocking, heartbreaking. So yeah, it'll be interesting to talk to them as well, and to get their story out. This is very important for them. Yeah, thank you so much again, Elvis.
Thanks a lot.
I'll talk to you during the week. Thank you very much.
See you next week. Cheers.
It's goodbye in Irish.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. On the Bonnery Show.
You are listening to Irish News Radio at irishnews.net. Email news@irishnews.net.